Hello, my name is Paul Bevan from Siemens Digital Industry Software, and in this brief demonstration I'd like to show you a brand new AI capability in the latest release of NX that was delivered in December 2022. Now within the graphics window you can see that I have a pump assembly, and I need to send this pump assembly to a supplier, but I don't want the supplier to see all of the information. There's key areas, intellectual property, that I just don't want my supplier to see. So I need to reduce the amount of data that I'm going to send him. And to do this, I'm going to use a command that's been available for a number of releases in NX called simplify assembly. However, during the simplification process, I'm going to use a new AI function called select similar faces that will allow me to remove specific areas of the model quickly and effectively. So let's take a look at the workflow. The first thing I'm going to do is to activate the simplify assembly command, which prompts me to create a new part file. And it's within this new part file that my simplify assembly will reside, and it's the one which I will send to my supplier. On creating the file, I'm then presented with a split screen. The graphics window on the left is the original assembly. The one on the right shows a preview of my simplified assembly. And both these views are synchronized. So as I rotate, zoom, pan, I get the same orientation in both. You'll also notice that some of the geometry and components have already been removed. And this is down to the fact that some rules with preset values are included in the simplify assembly dialog. You'll notice if I change one of the values of the rules and update the preview that some of the geometry reappears. Similarly, if I revert back, that geometry disappears. So let's take a look at what else we can remove during the simplify process. Key intellectual property may be something that you wouldn't want a supplier to be able to see. And in this case, one of the key areas of the pump would be the vane configuration on the impeller. So that may be something I may want to exclude. And it's really easy to do. Just pick up on the geometry, exclude it, and again, update the preview. You'll notice that that's now disappeared from my simplified assembly. If we move further back, we may not want the cover to be part of the simplified assembly. So again, I can remove that. And I could keep doing that for components that I don't want to be included. But what about individual areas of a particular component? Let's take a look at the motor itself. It's got a number of vanes in it, and again, it may be geometry that I don't want the supplier to have. So we can go in there and start to remove them. Again, I can pick on that face. Using region selection, boundary face, it'll automatically find then the region that I'm interested in, and I can remove that. And I could continue to do the same for the other side. Again, that's been removed. But what about areas that have multiple features, if you like, or multiple areas I may want to get rid of? I could go around and do them individually, but if there was a tool or something that I could use that would quickly select them all in one go, then that would be a far more efficient way of doing it. And the new capability inside of NX in this latest release is the ability to select similar faces using AI. So let's take a look at these ribs here. I can go into the Selection tab, choose the Select Similar Faces, and I'm checking the entire assembly, not just the work part. And I can pick up on one of the faces of those ribs and then pick on the boundary faces, so I can define my region. Finds my region, but the clever part is I can search for any similar regions within my assembly. And now it's found 24 of them. So a lot faster than if I was having to do this and select them individually. I can pick on them and again update my preview. They've been removed. I can look at other areas. Again, let's select that face. Do another search. It's found several others of the same type. And again, update the preview. See, there's one more. Pick up on that face there. That is a boundary face. That is a boundary face. Finds that area. Update the preview. And that's been removed. So that's the simplification done. All I need to do now is to complete the command, which generates the bodies into that part file I initially created that I'll now be able to send to my supplier. So let's just recap what you've seen. I had an assembly that I wanted to send to a supplier, but I didn't want the supplier to have all of the information, so I needed to simplify it somehow. I used the Simplify Assembly tool inside of NX to remove some of the key components and key areas of the assembly. Now, some of this was done automatically by preset parameters for removing bodies of a certain size, holes of a certain size. I was able to manually select certain components, such as the impeller, that I didn't want my supplier to look at. And then I looked at specific areas of the model that I didn't want the supplier to have. I was able to do this manually to start with, but then also take advantage of the AI-powered Select Similar Faces command, new in this latest release of NX, to very quickly select and find areas of similar shape and remove them from the simplified assembly. I'd like to thank you for your time and attention.